There is this poem by Roger Keyes that is called Hokusai Says that I came across the first time that we were working on this piece. And it was one of those moments where you're kind of can't quite believe that what you're reading is exactly what's happening in the studio and what you're trying to do. So I don't know if it's, my mind just trying to make sense of things as I am creating or... but I think it is. I think it really speaks to the spirit of the work. Hokusai says, look carefully. He says, pay attention. Notice. He says, keep looking. Stay curious. He says, there is no end to seeing. He says, everything is alive. Shells, buildings, people, fish, mountains, trees, wood is alive, water is alive. Everything has its own life. Everything lives inside us. He says, live with the world inside you.
So you guys come to here, next. We go to the library, and you go to the benches.
So we just make a progression.
Yeah, correct. It's like a bit of a circle.
Up the hill.
Correct, up the hill, down the hill.
And then after round three, we bring
gather, you bring yourself back.
Good luck.
Have fun! Enjoy! And I suppose that's what we're trying to do, like literally just keep sliding on the scale of our attention and our aliveness and awareness and notice life outside of our bodies and inside our bodies. So sometimes we're going like really deep and trying to imagine what does it feel to connect with your veins or with your blood or with your heart, and sometimes it's just really immediate because a car is passing or somebody's talking to you or something happens and you just suddenly notice that corner of the building, like the shape of a window or the wind or a voice. And yeah, it's this sort of dance of your attention and going backwards and forwards and sliding in the scale between the big and the small and the outside and the inside.
You can go.
Where does this route want to take me? Where does it not want me to go? Who is here? Who is not here? What is the soundtrack of this place? What food is available? Has anything changed in me since I have arrived? What's the quality of the light? What if I stay here for a bit longer? Who's up for a dance? What is the stuff around me made of? What's the color palette of this place? Do I feel like a stranger here? What traces of the past are visible? What traces of the past are invisible? Who built this place? What can I hear closer to me or far away? What's the texture of the ground beneath me? How does this place taste like? Remember to listen. Remember to listen carefully.
We do here, we do in the Wellgate Centre tomorrow. Okay. The Wellgate, the shopping centre, yeah.
How do you feel when you look at it?
I always feel this initial excitement when I look at a map and an urge to travel and go to all the places. And then there's like a secondary feeling where I start to enjoy the shapes and patterns that I can see, or maybe the textures. I really love the maps that have the contours on them that show the level of land, like what is high and maybe the lines are very compressed together, or what is low and flat when the lines are really spread out. I'm not very good at using a map. I've never trained like with a compass and facing north, but I absolutely love the idea that you could go somewhere with a map and use it to traverse space, and all the connotations of adventure when you set out with a map.
When you slow down in a city, what do you notice?
I think this has changed over the years. When I was like a teenager, I only looked on the floor. So I think I was seeing a lot of the details of the floor, the pavement. I found much more money on the floor because I was looking down.
Do you want to see my treasures?
Yeah, show me.
It really depends on the moment of the day. I think if it's during the day, I'm gonna see maybe shops I want to go to, little parks, or just details on people, or some kind of beauty there and there. If it's really late at night, I might look out for danger.
What happens to me when I look at a map? I think when I look at a map, the main thing that happens is I get excited, or I'm just curious. I think I connect it with this sensation of being a child and being curious about the world. You know, like not having been to places, so a map is just almost like a promise of like other places and other people, and I think that's I can almost remember sort of like a distinct sensation of that sort of excitement or promise about a place.
More than the geography of it, like start seeing, like imagining the people and animals and dynamic of the place. Hidden stories and episodes in the maps. That's started kind of letting me see when I see a map. Yeah, especially, I guess, those maps with colors and lots of details in. I can't quite connect with those. You know, when we went to the library, we see very sort of dated map. I guess because I live now, I live in this present. Yeah, it's a little bit harder for me to kind of connect with the.
Yeah. So Forfar was the kind of capital almost administratively until Dundee was kind of, it was granted city status in the 1880s, like officially. It was always functionally a city, but sort of from...
Ladies and gentlemen, this is an announcement. There will be a free architectural tour of the building as well. So if you want to know a little bit more about how the building is put together and why it was the way it was, join our free tour.
I think something that I really enjoy about dancing, and I get that feeling as well, you know, when I'm in urban spaces in this kind of way, is that, you know, how much I'm used to having my attention directed. You know, like if I think of a lot of visual-based media, like I'm very used to having the thing presented for me. I'm told what's valuable and what's not valuable, what deserves my attention and what is not deserving of my attention, and I guess there's an agency to to take upon yourself to be like, oh no, I can pay attention to what I want to pay attention to, or what is calling for me to pay attention to it, and I can also invite other people or into that process, or you know, feed that process that's already going on in them, of having to direct their own senses or allow their own senses to be drawn in very different ways to a kind of more media-based relationship, or more like pragmatic, like, oh, I need to get here, so I need to avoid these, you know, avoid people walking in the other direction, I need to avoid the traffic, I need to take the most, you know, like these other ways of organizing our senses. There's an invitation there, I think, to experience a bigger world within the world that we already inhabit.
I think that we move in space and in nature, in cities, with our bodies, and you can forget that sometimes when you're looking at a map, you're just looking at an abstract representation of a space, and you just look at a route or a direction, but the actual experience is embodied. Like, you can never go from one place to the other without yourself and your body, and therefore it's very different. It can be very, very different if you're walking, or if you're driving, or if you're taking a public bus, and that experience is shared with others. The speed, of course, is very different. Like some of the local buses we've been taking really aren't the fastest routes between A and B, and it would take, if we would drive or hire a coach, it would take us maybe 20 minutes, but with a local bus it takes you an hour, because you're taking different types of routes, but also the speed, the stop and start is very different, and it's social. People come on and off the bus, you're seeing through the windows, so it's a different experience than when you're just driving. You're trying to get as fast as you can from one place to another. It's not about the journey, and I suppose what's been really nice about this project is that the whole point is about the journey. The tower here on the right, you can see this little castle where we would have our... Going for a walk that way, like at the end you get a really nice edge. I think in your... Yeah! Say that! We're not scared. Look friendly.
The other is to have a radar of sensing through sounds what's close to you, what's middle distance, and what's in the far distance. Whether that's sounds of trees, winds, people, ducks, birds, water. When I look at a map, I often look for orchards on a map, which on an ordnance survey map is like a white background with green outlined trees, and then I know, that possibly there's fruit trees there. And then another thing I look for is common access land. So access land, it means that people have access to it without permission, because in the UK, actually, no, Scotland, the rules are very different, but where I'm from in England, access to land is really limited compared to Scotland. So I think I'm also looking for places to be, places to spend time. Looking for places to swim, looking for places to camp. So I guess there's a bit of excitement, but I also know that a map is never a place. It's just a possibility, but the reality will be very different.
When you are not so happy, no, you don't say the map.
What do you feel when you look at a map?
I feel that some other people must understand it better than I do.
That it? Okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Because it's not a tool I would instinctively use, but I can see people do that. And now slowly also I sometimes do, especially on the phone, but I do feel I have a harder time to use it to go from the abstract of the map to the real world and understand and recognize. Also, I have no sense of orientations. The first thought who comes to my mind is that often I get lost. Sometime when I was, I don't know, auditioning or something, I would get lost. I would try to understand the map, like especially if I was stressed in time, then I wouldn't make it. Then I would call a friend who would look at the map on their computer from home and would tell me like, do you see this shop? Go towards it. And then turn left. Yeah.
So I walk quite a lot. I've started to walk a lot more, a bit more long distance walking, and so looking at a map is like it's a possible future. You know, if you like walk, you know you've got to walk down this path for, I don't know, a few kilometers, and I'm kind of predicting from the map how it will be, and then I get to the place and I go, oh wow, so that's how you make a map out of this. So you know, there'll be like, I might think it's a hill and actually it's, I don't know, a castle, or you know, it can. Yeah, there's often surprises that are probably on the map, but I'm so focused on the, you know, not getting lost where I am, that I don't see a mountain or like something in the distance that then I can go, oh, and then I find it on the map and it gives more information. So I think it's actually, a map is quite a dialogue between being in the place and seeing a visual representation. A map can sometimes help you feel less alone, because you know that people have been there and maybe named it, but then also that is, you know, that's a bit weird as well, you know, like it's been somehow labelled.
I'm very good at that.
You want to start with walking? space. Take a leap at the front.
Okay. Okay. So Jesse, end of Jesse's. 5, 7, 8, and a 1. 5, 7, 8. So warm up. 4, 5, 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 1.
Yes, yes, we're quite downstage, I'd say.
Yeah.
So maybe let's take the
say that's
lamp post as a thingy.
Maybe also not coming forward too much to pass low, la la la.
For this one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, if we end up sort of coming downstage from it, that's fine. But just let's not use it as a default.
Okay, so we're about here.
Yeah, I guess when I look at a map, yeah, I'm often looking for a very specific reason, like I want to know where something is or to find a route from somewhere to somewhere else. But somehow, like I'm always seduced by what else is on the map and end up kind of, like getting lost into little like, oh, I wonder what's that, or why is that over there, or wow, I never realized that, this thing is in relation to this other thing, or, the names of places, or, places that don't have a name that I might know the name of or might have heard a name for, but it's not on the map, or.
Enjoy your dancing, darling. First position.
What's the other types of name you like on the map?
The types of name. I guess sometimes it could be nice when the like in Scotland, for example, a lot of the mountains have names that describe the mountain themselves. Like they would have a color or a particular shape or something like this. And I think that's that can be really beautiful to like have some hint of what it, like what the map isn't telling you or not showing you. I also enjoy place names that are named after people in ways that, like often feel quite relaxed, like, like just a first name, Susanna's Forest or something, or something that makes you realize that these places have such a history to them and have not necessarily been named, by an official, but have been named by the people who live there and inhabit that place.
Yeah, these ones are amateur dramatics, operatic societies. So these cover the entire county. So there's some from the Forfar, Montrose groups, and there's like various costumes and performances, things like that. I just thought these are quite appropriate for what you guys are doing today, so I brought those ones along. These are various dance schools, dance troupes, things like that, and performances as well, so people can have a wee browse through those and see if they recognise anyone.
That's cute, isn't it? I'll have to fantastic with that.
What are the chances?
That's amazing, isn't it? Oh, wow. Send that to Nicola.
That's what you're frightened of. You're just frightened that we would show them up.
I think when I slow down in a city, I mean, it's quite hard because there's a kind of energy to a city that can really speed me up. yeah, when I slow down, I can relax more. I think my perspective changes and I'm more open to starting a conversation with people that I don't know, which doesn't come so easily for me, but slowing down actually makes it a bit easier.
Talking about your dreams, do you have places that don't exist to go to in your dreams and that could be mapped?
Yeah, I definitely do that thing where if I wake up and I'm like partway through the map or partway through the dream, that I might like grab a piece of paper and try and jot down as many things, and occasionally it's more like a drawing. And I remember a particular drawing that was it was like through a door or a window that you could step out of, and then it had lots of different layers of terrain. So it was like an immediate garden and then a gate which you could open, which went into a field, and beyond that was a forest, and beyond that was hills, and beyond that was sky, and I remember thinking, although it wasn't a map with a route delineated already, that it had a kind of very clear direction to it. So maybe sometimes my dreams feel like openings to adventures to be had. When I slow down in a city, this kind of like inner world appears. So I'm in the outer world and there's lots of things happening. I'm getting on a bus or choosing which way to go or talking to somebody that crosses the street in front of me. But when I slow down, stories appear or other details become bigger. So I might have a better sense of the smell of the place, or notice the scale of leaves on a tree, or the distance between objects, or the way people move in particular shapes or flows in space. And also maybe slightly more of awareness of like space itself, empty corners that you might walk straight past without looking at, or bits of unused potential, like bits of grass that are too small to really sit on, but they're still there anyway. Or,
Yeah, when I slow down in a city, I can see nature sort of in between almost the cracks of the city. I start noticing the elements, I start noticing the wind, I start noticing plants growing around me, and I sort of get this sense that actually the city is just like a top layer that we've added. Like it's not like, I think often I can think of nature being as the thing outside the city, but it's more like the city is just inside nature, and we've just sort of landed in there, and it's totally provisional, and nature is just sort of there holding everything, and then you can see it coming through. I think that when I slow down in a city, I also see people. I notice people in a different way, and also my imagination then goes wild, because I can't help myself, but I make up stories. I am intrigued, like, you know, where do they come from? Where are they going?
When you have the time to go slowly or to step out a bit from the every day moving through a city, I sometimes wonder whether people have enough opportunities to go slow or notice things about the places that they're in all the time. And it's that thing, isn't it, like when you have time to see the ordinary in a more extraordinary way. Yeah, that can be really refreshing, just allow you to have a different perspective, see things fresh.
Now approaching control. Please mind the gap when leaving the train.
So is this a two spot that will... No.
Well, it's two possibilities for the group, but this will probably be one of the solo spots.
Thought I told you to never come here again.
Not down my alleyway. The jets.
The jet. Cities are not designed for you to be slow in them. You know, they're designed increasingly, I would guess, but for a certain pace of movement, a certain pace of attention, a certain pace of interaction. And they're sometimes, you know, to slow down or to do something a little bit like against that can be very welcomed and can invite, you know, other people to maybe... Cheers, thank you. Thank you. All right.
Have a nice meeting.
Oh, I did great. empower other people to also slow down or to notice in a different way or to allow a different kind of activity, or it can hit a kind of a hard barrier of, you know, like, why are you in the way? What are you doing? Why are you here? Are you all right? You know, these kinds of, slightly more questioning your questioning.
All right. Get in. Ready?
But yeah, I mean, cities are, I guess something of slowing down is to notice that they're incredibly sensorially rich places, you know, for like the stereotype of, you know, concrete and glass, you know, jungles is, I guess, that, you know, there's so many layers of detail to notice, both in the kind of the physical world around, the textures, the weathering, the emergence of plants, the littering or graffiti, or, you know, the scars in what's around, but also, yeah, the sound, light, smells, people. There's an incredible richness there that I think it's all too easy to gloss over or not appreciate. To feel like it's a problem, or that the ideal would not have, you know, someone's name scrawled or some interesting pattern of chewing gum on the floor.
If I have to retrace a path, like if I go with someone to somewhere and then I have to return or something like that, I often, my mind will take notice of really like some details, some unusual details, and then the collection of those unusual details gives me the route.
Why do you think you pick some details?
The one that are memorable, the one that I know are not likely to repeat, so that I'm not gonna get lost, because if I see this means I'm here.
And why do you think some things you remember more than others?
I don't know, because they are unexpected, unusual, or they remind me of something in my head. I don't know actually.
There is a choreography of how people move and live and inhabit public spaces and cities and parks and wherever you go, there's a flow of people, of how people tend to enter and leave, the speed, and you can really see that what the performance and what the dance is doing is almost creating like an area of I think of it of thickness. I think it's almost like a spider web where people's attention gets tangled, where you sort of like go through almost like a magnetic field or something that makes you slow down and see something, because you're seeing something unfamiliar, unexpected. So, and the quality of what they're doing is so much rooted in paying attention and to themselves, to their bodies, to the environment, that there is, I can only describe it as a thickness. There is something that you there is a density that you have to push through to move away from it, or you get sort of drawn into, and then you can taste it with the dancers and be part of it, which is, I think a really special experience.
So I was watching this video the other day. It was kind of like an old archive of things, and they were showing how when you take pictures, well, at the beginning of photography, when you take a picture of a city, with the new photography, you could see the cars and everything. And then there was the old, I can't remember the name, but it's such a long exposition that everything disappears.
Okay, all the things that are moving disappear. Yeah.
So you only see the buildings, basically.
Yeah.
And so if you're kind of like this and you slow down to the point that you don't see the movement, what do you notice? What moves slowly in a city?
I don't know if I'm answering the question, but I sometimes think about when I see trees in a city, like particularly large trees, how much activity they've witnessed or something. I guess the buildings too, the kind of static or position of a building. I guess maybe I think more about a tree because the tree breathes and changes and adapts to the seasons, but also somehow witnesses the kind of very quick human existence, or how many, a large tree that's been there like 200 years, how many stories have passed by. Yeah, I suppose places somehow store up history. But I think that's beyond my comprehension.
That's interesting. Yeah, the trees are basically the ones that are really slowing down in the city, and they see things.
I mean, they're still moving, I guess, in weather and in growth. But they're not trying to get somewhere in the way that we do.